a child beauty pageant winner from Colorado, vanished in 1994, just hours after a show turning what should have been a celebration into an endless nightmare. But 3 years later, her mother discovers a moldy cereal bowl in the attic, and what this simple find reveals about her daughter's fate is more horrifying than anyone could have imagined. The afternoon sun filtered through Thelys curtains of the Carly-Leal home in Castle Rock, Colorado, casting long shadows across the dining room table where 5 people sat in deep discussion. It was 1997, and the weight of 3 years pressed heavily on everyone present. Emma Carlisle unconsciously twisted her ringers. She listened to the private investigator's latest update, her husband David's hand resting supportively on her shoulder. The investigator, a weathered man in his 50s named Frank Morrison, spread out several documents and photographs across the mahogany table. "I've been following up on the leads from the Denver area," he said, adjusting his wire-rimmed glasses. "There was a reported sighting at a mall, but the security footage was too grainy to confirm." Ryan, Carly-Leal David's younger brother, leaned forward from his position at the corner of the table. His sandy, brown hair fell into his eyes as he studied the blurry photograph. "That could be anyone," he said quietly. "The height seems wrong." Lucille Carly-Leal, the family matriarch, sat with her hands folded in her lap, her silver hair pulled back in a neat bun. At 72, she had aged considerably since her granddaughter's disappearance. "We can't give up hope," she said, though her voice trembled slightly. "Rhea is out there somewhere." Emma's eyes drifted to the framed photograph on the sideboard. Rhea in her blue pageant dress, the princess banner draped across her shoulder, her blonde curls perfectly styled. That radiant smile that had won over the judges. It had been taken just hours before she vanished at the child beauty pageant in 1994. "Have you checked with the other families from the pageant circuit again?" David asked, his voice steady despite the pain. Emma knew he carried. Maybe someone remembered something new. Morrison nodded. "I've been in contact with several families. Most have moved on. Stopped competing." The Williamson family mentioned they thought they saw someone matching Rhea's description at a competition in Phoenix last year, but he trailed off. Shaking his head, the room fell silent, except for the ticking of the grandfather clock in the corner. 2 hours they'd been at this, going over the same ground, searching for something, anything they might have missed. Morrison began explaining the interstate coordination efforts when the phone rang, its shrill tone cutting through the conversation. Emma started, then rose quickly. "I'll get it," she said, grateful for even a momentary escape from the crushing weight of another meeting with no real progress. She picked up the receiver of the wall-mounted phone in the kitchen. "Carly residence, Mrs. Carly. This is Detective Brennan from the Castle Rock Police Department." Emma's grip tightened on the handset. "Yes, Detective, I apologize for calling during your meeting with the private investigator. We know he's there today. But we've had a handwriting expert reviewing some old evidence, and they'd like to compare some samples. Would it be possible for you to bring some over here, school materials or textbooks? We need to cross-check her handwriting samples against some new evidence that's come to light." "New evidence?" Emma's voice rose slightly, causing the conversation in the dining room to pause. "I can't go into details over the phone, but we'd appreciate if you could bring whatever schoolwork you have from Rhea. Notebooks, workbooks, anything with substantial handwriting. Samples. Of course, I'll bring them over right away," Emma said already. Mentally cataloging where they'd stored Rhea's belongings after hanging up, she returned to the dining room where 4 pairs of eyes watched her expectantly. That was Detective Brennan. She explained, "They want me to bring some of Rhea's school materials to cross-check handwriting samples. They mentioned new evidence." Morrison's eyebrows rose. "Interesting. They didn't mention anything to me about new evidence." "Where are her school things?" Emma asked. "David, we packed everything up," and she paused, trying to remember. They'd been so distraught in those early months. Packing Rhea's belongings had been a blur of tears and pain. David rubbed his forehead, thinking, "The school materials, I handled that category when we were packing. They're at Ryan's house. He looked at his brother. Ryan nodded, already reaching into his pocket. "I can go get them." "No," Emma interrupted, perhaps more sharply than intended. "I mean, I'll do it. The police might ask me to grab something else, and I don't want to trouble you. Besides," she gestured to the table still covered with documents, "you should all continue with Mr. Morrison. I know where to look." Ryan pulled out his key ring, working 2 keys free. "The Brassoni is for the front door. This silver one is for the basement," he showed her each key. "Carefully, some of Ria's stuff is in the basement, some in the attic. We had to split it up because there was just so much and space is limited. The school materials are definitely in the basement." David added his memory clearing eye specifically. "Remember putting that box under the stairs with the others?" "Under the stairs basement, got it." Emma pocketed the keys. Morrison spoke up. "Mrs. Carolee, would you like someone to accompany you?" "I'm fine," Emma assured him. "You should all continue here. This is important." David stood partially. "Are you sure I can come with you?" She placed a gentle hand on his shoulder, pressing him back into his seat. "Stay. Finish the meeting. Ryan's house is just a 10-minute walk. I'll be back soon after exchanging a few more words and reassurances." Emma excused herself and stepped out into the late afternoon air. The June weather was mild, with a gentle breeze rustling the leaves of the oak trees lining the street. Ryan's house was indeed close, just in a different cluster of the same sprawling neighborhood where the houses were slightly older but well maintained. As she walked, Emma's mind wandered to all the times Ria had made the same journey, running ahead of them to Uncle Ryan's house, excited to play in his attic playroom or help him with his tropical fish. Ryan had always been the fun uncle, Theon, who let Ria stay up a little later, eat an extra cookie, watch cartoons he'd recorded on his V-car. The brass key turned smoothly in the lock of Ryan's front door. The house was quiet, tidy, as always. Ryan had inherited their mother's fastidious nature, everything in its place. Emma made her way directly to the basement door, flicking on the light switch at the top of the stairs. The wooden steps creaked under her feet as she descended. The basement was finished but utilitarian, with concrete walls, painted a neutral beige, and industrial carpeting. She turned left at the bottom of the stairs, immediately spotting the stack of boxes beneath the sloped underside of the staircase. The first thing that caught her eye made her breath catch in her throat. There, sitting on top of an open box, was Ria Hello Kitty cereal bowl. The pink plastic bowl with Hello Kitty's face smiling up at her. Emma's vision blurred with sudden tears as memories flooded back. Rahia at the breakfast table, insisting on using this specific bowl, refusing to eat if it wasn't available. They'd had to buy an identical one just to avoid meltdowns on laundry day. Emma picked up the bowl, with trembling hands cradling it like the precious relic. It was how many mornings had she filled this bowl with Cheerios or Lucky Charms, watching Ria carefully pick out all the marshmallows first. The weight of grief pressed down on her, and she had to take several deep breaths to compose herself. She needed to get out of here quickly before the memories overwhelmed her completely. Setting the bowl gently aside, she moved the open box and began shifting the others, looking for the one David had described. Several boxes back, pushed deep under the slope of the stairs, she found one clearly marked in David's neat handwriting, school and stationery. The box was still sealed with packing tape. Undisturbed for 3 years, Emma used the sharp edge of the house key to slice through the tape. The sound harsh in the quiet basement. Inside, carefully packed, were Rihia's school supplies, pencil cases, rulers, erasers still in their packaging, and there what she was looking for: notebooks and textbooks from 4th grade, Ria's most recent completed school year. Emma lifted out a composition notebook, its cover decorated with Ria's careful doodles of flowers and butterflies. She opened it, seeing page after page of her daughter's handwriting, spelling tests, journal entries, math problems worked out in pencil. Fresh tears spilled down her cheeks as she traced a finger over the words, "My family," at the top of one page, followed by a paragraph about how much Ria loved her parents and Uncle Ryan and Grandma Lucille. She quickly gathered several notebooks and textbooks, anything that would provide the handwriting samples the police needed. With her arms full of Ria's things, Emma climbed the stairs quickly. Eager to escape the emotional minefield of the basement, she made sure to turn off the light and close the door firmly behind her before heading to the front door. Emma reached back to her house just as Frank Morrison was stepping out the front door, his worn leather briefcase in hand. She quickened her pace, jogging the last few steps to catch him. "Mr. Morrison, I'm sorry about the interruption," she said, slightly breathless from the emotion and the quick walk. The investigator waved off her apology with a weathered hand. "No problem at all. Mrs. Carlyle police business takes priority. I hope it's something useful." His eyes held that mixture of professional caution and genuine hope she'd seen so many times over the past 3 years after watching him drive away in his dark sedan. Emma went back inside, where David Ryan and Lucille were still gathered in the dining room. The documents and photographs had been neatly stacked. The meeting